Today I would like to make a very quick video talking about my first impressions with Amouage Jubilation 25 man. Disclaimer, I've never tried Jubilation 40 or like the original batch, the original formula of Jubilation 25 man. And after trying this, I'm actually curious because I like this a lot. And today I would like to both talk about what I enjoyed and also some negative aspects of this perfume, at least for me. Generally, when I try a perfume for the first time, especially as I'm new to this world of fragrances, I try to not look at the notes and make up my mind, but also after a while read the notes on Fragrantica or on whatever website, just to like learn and understand better how things smell. And also sometimes I watch other people talk about the same fragrance or that specific fragrance on the internet, on Reddit or on YouTube, just to see what they think and compare it to what I perceived. So if I had to generalize this fragrance for me, first of all, I think that what a lot of people say regarding the fact that this feels well blended as a fragrance, like it's hard to pinpoint specific notes. I think that is true. When you smell this, you get vaguely the sensation of specific things, like vaguely fruity, vaguely something that's sweet, something that's vaguely, let's say, smoky or incensey. But it's hard to say, like, to pinpoint, like, oh, this sweetness is, blackberry, and be 100% sure. Obviously, as you smell more, you can identify the specific notes, but it feels, everything feels a nice harmony, let's put it this way. The only thing I would say that feels evident is like at least for me, the, let's say the honey-like smell and also slightly honey texture that this fragrance has. In fact, if I had to sort of give you like a general perception of this fragrance, like what it feels for me, I get a lot of this, I would say, honey smell that has a hint of sweetness, but it isn't like too sweet. And it's like a well-textured honey. There's something vaguely spicy, especially in the opening. There's something vaguely ambery, also, especially in the opening, but not limited to the opening. There is something slightly incensey, slightly smoky. So it is a very textured and, let's say, complex, mainly honey-like smell, at least, or fragrance, at least for me. Especially then as it dries down, it loses a bit of that strong sweetness, fruitiness that's given mainly by the blackberry in the opening. And I have to say, like in the first few seconds, isn't identifiable as blackberry. After a couple of minutes, I think it becomes more apparent. And but after a while, it becomes more and more of this, I would say, mainly honey-like smell with a vague reminder of the let's say top notes of the sweet, fruity top notes like the blackberry and so on, and it becomes more smoky. Let's say more incensey, more smoky. In the opening, you get, as I said, more of this sweetness. Like the coming from the blackberry, maybe there's something vaguely, very vaguely citrusy, but like there's, I think, orange. There is a frankincense that gives a bit of this ambery, maybe slightly lemony smell, but it's hard to single them out. And even like the orange, like maybe if you try to find it, maybe like I'm just like reaching, you can feel it, but it feels a bit sweeter, almost like an apricot, I would say, but maybe that's me. So it's hard to say like what's what. However, it is definitely a bit more sweeter in the opening. I like this a lot. I mean, I will talk about some negatives, but as I said, it is mainly for me a sort of a honey-like smell or honey-like fragrance, but as I said, a very textured one with a bit of spicy, but spiciness, like warm spiciness, but not too much, I would say, as I generally don't like spices a lot. And a bit smoky, a bit incensey, a bit sweet, a bit fruity. It's very nice, very, very nice. The problem I have with this is that so I don't know, like which batch this sample came from, honestly. So if it's like the new formulation or like the, let's say, intermediate one, I don't think it's like the original with the non-mac cap. So there is that. However, I don't like the fact that it doesn't last a lot. Like it is a very nice and intense experience for a couple of hours, like 2 to 3 hours for me. After that, it becomes more of a skin scent, and also like it loses maybe a bit of that fruitiness and that even like the sweetness coming also from the honey is more apparent. Like the texture, the slight stickiness is more apparent in the opening and the mid, but like in the after like maybe 2 hour and a half, 3 hours, 4 hours, it you lose that a bit. So it's like a great experience, but for a short amount of time. So maybe you would have to reapply this like throughout the day, or it can be good for like a shorter event. Also, as this is as you can see, a very small sample, I think like 1.5 ml maybe. I try to limit how much I spray when I want to try it, because I want to like try it as much as I can. So I won't like spray it everywhere, but just like 1 to 2 sprays on my hand so I can enjoy it. So maybe if I had like a full bowl and I could like full spray it around my body and on my clothes to increase projection and increase longevity, I would have maybe a different opinion. But I've seen people generally talk about this negative side of the perfume of the longevity. Sorry, negative in a very, let's say, quote unquote way, because you can reapply it. You can use it, spray it on clothes to increase a bit the longevity. So there are all sorts of, let's say, strategies you can use. But if you're like spraying it once in the morning, I think yes, after like maybe if you spray it at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, I think like in the noon, like come 12 o'clock or onwards, it's pretty undetectable or like very much of a skin scent. Also, maybe one possible negative could be, and I don't know if it's specific to like this batch, is that it sometimes feels that it is lacking a bit of like saturation or punchiness to the notes. Everything feels like a bit, maybe a bit muffled, a bit like if it was like underwater, not breathing well, like not HD enough, if that makes sense. Ever so slightly, ever so slightly. That's why I would like to try maybe older bottles just to make sure. And one can also say that maybe it can feel a bit, let's say, maybe a bit samey of a smell. Like there's, especially after as it dries down, and especially because like you always get this sort of, at least I get this, like the honey-like smell. It's always there. After a while, maybe you could perceive that as being a bit always the same. Like you always get this, sort of honey-like smell. Yes, it is a bit more sweeter in the opening, but then especially as it becomes a bit more, maybe a bit more smokier and incensey, it gives a bit of that. I don't know. Maybe it enhances that sort of. How can I say this? Like the honey smell, or it becomes a bit more not opulent, because this isn't opulent, but a bit static, like as if you're always smelling the same thing. And this isn't necessarily a bad aspect. I generally like fragrances that don't change a lot as you're wearing them. But because of the type of notes, like because of the honey and the other notes, the more smoky notes, I think that it can be a type of smell that in the long run can be a bit too much, or a bit of maybe of a problem sometimes. But as it, because it doesn't last a lot, actually I think it balances itself out well in this aspect. Also because I think like the honey aspect and element of it is present also in the opening, so it's not like you get it from the middle part onwards. It's always there, so that's why I think it can become or feel a bit redundant sometimes as a smell. But all in all, I have to say I enjoy this a lot. I would like to buy a full bottle. I would like to try Jubilation 40. I would like to try maybe older batches. This is very nice. It has flaws, like with everything. But I enjoy this a lot, and I like it very much. And yeah, maybe I don't know. Like as for like wearability, like when to wear it. That's interesting because it is pretty like sticky, pretty sweet in an intense or like a dense way. You know, it's pretty dense. So, however, I think that this is also wearable in the summer because like it isn't. I don't know. It isn't like too opulent, too dark. It's nice. Maybe, yes, you could say that probably or possibly if it's like too hot, I don't know, it can become maybe too sticky or too dense. I don't know. But like for me, it's probably wearable in most seasons. I don't know, maybe if it's colder outside, it will last a bit longer. That could be seen as a positive. Maybe you'll feel it a bit less like sticky or less dense. I don't know. I try this only in the summer for now. But all in all, this is a crazy good fragrance. I like this a lot, and it's like one of those bottles that one of those fragrances that I would like to buy as a full bottle. At the moment, as you can see, I'm just like trying a lot of stuff out. I'm new to this hobby, so I don't want to commit to a full bottle. But this is very, very nice.